What is up, everybody? It is your least favorite saltine of a jobby copy. But who's the real copy? I'm just kidding. Today, we will be reviewing the... Oh! Ignoring the cringe, you really think I give a shit about cringe? Today we will be reviewing the Xtransbots Bond James, who is a masterpiece-style punch counterpunch, my favorite Transformers character, so much so that he is the fucking back of my phone case. I need to get a life. I do still have the box, so I'll show off some pictures of that right now. There's the front, side, back, other side, top, and goddamn bottom. Why did I throw the box? Is this an MGO video or something? Punch Counterpunch here is a very nice little Pontiac Fiero. I've always loved Pontiacs. First got into them when Jazz was a Solstice in the first 2007 movie. But just very appealing. This panel right here can flip, so you can have like an Autobot and Decepticon symbol on one side and or you know what I mean. And then these pieces, you can push them up to get like a little headlight. You gotta get your nails in there and pull it the rest of the way up, but you get a headlight if you want. I'm gonna leave them down. I don't give a shit. But very appealing. Visible head syndrome. You can fix that if you want, but I don't really give a shit. And these panels did break off. Both of them broke off. I left one off so you could see what it looks like. Honestly, I don't mind it, but it does suck, but it's not the end of the world. Other than the headlights, he has opening doors, and his hands are kind of seats. You know, he's trying to cop a cheap feel. Now, the only other thing to talk about is the weapons. I'm not going to get into them right yet. I just want to mention that there's storage, so you'll take the yellow one, twist it to the side so the peg is facing the back, and you can kind of see there are two pegs in there, and in theory it should peg into one of them, but one, it's very difficult to do, and two, the tab doesn't work, so I don't really give a shit. Now the black gun, you can get it in there. You just gotta lift that up and then just kind of squeeze it in there. I've seen videos talking about how you can tab it in, but I haven't been able to find tabs. But once it's in, it holds solidly and it doesn't break up the sculpt. He rolls incredibly well. I can't remember if I mentioned that, but just so solid. Rubber tires. I love this car mode. God diggity damn. Now getting into transformation. It is a very complex transformation with some parts that could break, but once you get the hang of it, it's not that bad. So to start with, you want to open the doors, and you'll have to take this piece and kind of flex it so that you can pull the arms down. And here is where the first problem begins. You want to untab it. You can see that it's tabbed in right there. And this tab is so tight, I'm probably going to sand it down, but it's just so scary. Okay, I got it. You'll want to split the back and just this transformation is not the most fun. You'll want to split the back, lift this piece up, and if these have already broken, just untab it. But if they weren't broken, you would fold it down, pull this panel out and fold it down. It's just, the reason it broke is because there's no clearance to pull it back, so it fucking breaks. Alright, next you'll want to pull the legs down, and they're on a slider, so you'll want to slide it in, and there's a sweet spot, and it doesn't lock in place, but it tries. And you'll want to get the side panels flipped out so you can squeak the leg out, and then you'll flip that around. Sorry if you hear mowing in the background. Pull that on a that's on a slider, pull it down, and then you'll You want to untab that. Go ahead and close the door back up, flip the window in as well as the headlight, tab it all together, and you can go ahead and close it up. There's a little tab it doesn't hold in, it's not a tight tab, but it'll hold in. And here is where people's biggest issue is, these feet. They say they are over-engineered. I do not agree with that. But you see that panel can flip it up and, oh God, flip it up. It's on a double hinge, so if I can, you can fold it so it's like that. Then you want to take the spoiler, bend this piece down, and you want to try to line these pieces up as best as they can. They aren't going to line up flush, but yeah. Then you'll take this piece, flip it in so that he has a flat foot, and there's a tab right there that will plug into that. Plug it in and just get everything aligned. I've done my stupid thing. I can go home now. Now, so far, it might have seemed like spaghetti engineering, because it kind of is, but it's not the worst thing in the world. So to keep going, make sure you have the arms down. Go ahead and push this panel up if it hasn't done that for you. Just bring all that forward, bring all that back. Open up those yellow panels, and this is where it gets kind of difficult. Swing the arms out, and you can see that it needs to line up, so you'll want to push it up, and these sliders are ridiculously tight, so can be a bit of a chore. So I'm gonna go do it off camera really quick. There we go. Next thing you'll want to do, come to the back, twist the hood around, and you'll want to lift this whole assembly up after you untab it. Flip these pieces, and that one already flipped in for me. Then you want to fold them in again, and you'll want to, I don't know how well I'll be able to show this off, but you'll want all of it to fold in and go inside of that gap. It's on a double hinge, so kind of just get it all around. Try to show the camera as best you can. Realize you forgot a step and undo all of it, and pull out these side panels. I don't know if the transformation is actually impacted by not pulling them out, but yeah, and then get that thing in. Once you've done that, he's starting to take shape, so you want to get those two tabs right there to tab into this, though, that to kind of lift and push, get it all pushed in, and it'll tab in quite nicely. Then you want to push those panels to the side, and then it'll collapse just a bit. And the last thing to do to the upper body, or the main body, is to open that up, and those side panels will just flip in like so. Close that up, and the very last step, you'll want to fold the hands out and make sure that the joint is facing the right way and the yellow is on the back. Orient the hands properly, and there we have the fully transformed Xtransbots Counterpunch, and my god, does he look amazing, just like he looked in the 80s cartoon. Now this is the American version. There is another version that's more of his Japanese design, but since this one came out first, and I honestly like the Decepticon mouth play a bit more, this is the one I went with. So, yeah, he looks absolutely incredible. I love that the windshield is fake so that you can have Decepticon symbols on either side. And it's just, he looks amazing. The only real problem I have with the look of the robot mode is this silver paint on the windshield has, I don't know if it's coming up on camera, but it has, there are a couple scratches on it, so I'm worried about that. But otherwise, all of this I'm pretty sure is just blue plastic, and areas that aren't just plastic are painted so well that I don't have any concerns about them ever chipping. The red chrome on the shoulders of the wheels, I didn't mention that in car mode, but I'm about to come. Now if you take the black gun, fold it out, and you can just open his hand, put it in. It's typical Masterpiece tab in the slot, and he does hold it very solidly. And yeah, I love the way it looks. It's a very nice 80s style gun. And now that we're talking about accessories, before we get into posability, he does come with one more accessory, which is an alternate head. And as you can see, this one actually does have the added feature of when you flip it around, his head is fully hidden. This one, I've only been able to flip the face around once. It is ridiculously tight, so I don't really care about a face on the back, as you can see. It is more cartoon accurate, I believe, but it just looks like he got his face smashed in, all Bayverse Prime style. And the other one, I don't like the little panel lines, and he just looks old, and I don't like it, so I will not be displaying him with this. Moving on to posability, his head is on a swivel and an up and down hinge. If you lift the face on the back, you can get him to look up more, but I don't count that. But also when you switch the heads out, it's just on a peg, and I am not going to be able to get that back on, so he's headless for the rest of posability. You can lift that up, and if these are loose, they are a little loose on mine, you pull the chest out, and there's a screw that's like right there, or I think it's actually on the other side, it's like right there, and you tighten it, and it's good. Like you can see, that side doesn't even hold up, but a swivel all the way around right there, a thigh swivel, and if you want, he's got weird accordion elbows, which I've seen a lot of people complain about. It's to give him double jointed elbows. Like, he's got a joint right there, and it goes to there, and that's loose. I'm going to have to tighten that screw. And if you lift up, he's got that. I don't really care about the double joint. I'm never going to display him dynamically. But yeah. Then he's got a wrist swivel and a pointer finger, 3-finger split, which is very nice. A waist swivel. I'm really bringing in the jobby copy thing. And a little bit of a back arc and ab crunch. Nice ratcheted, very nice ratcheted forward and backward movement. Forward that far, backward way far. And it'd be the opposite for Counterpunch. He's got really squeaky outward movement that far. He does have a thigh swivel, but for like a week after getting this guy, it was so tight I couldn't even move it, and when you do, it doesn't really move that much anyway. And you can see that the slider, it creates like a little micro knee, and he's got a bend that far that way and that far that way, and the knee joint is in a weird place, so it does look a bit off. Not a huge deal to me. He's got an ankle pivot, but the way the foot is designed, it kind of bumps into things, and that's as far as you're going to get either way, so it's not a huge amount anyway. For size comparison, here he is with the Masterpiece exhaust, who is just Masterpiece Wheeljack, the Masterpiece skids, the Magic Square Light of Peace, and of course my previous review Legacy Animated Prowl. Just now realized I forgot to film car mode comparisons, so here he is again with Exhaust, Skids, Optimus, and Prowl. This guy does have an Autobot mode, so let's really make him a Transformer. I'm allowed to make that joke. Now to make him punch instead of counterpunch, simply fold the shoulder pads forward. If you can, turn the head around, twist him around, and then just take the hands, open it, and push this panel to get the red hands out, and then just fold. Make sure the hand is fully compressed so that it can go in. And when you want to get it out, just pull on the thumb. You might need a screwdriver or something to help leverage you out. Turning this guy around, I did realize I missed a tiny little step. These parts are like that in car mode. Just make sure they are squared off and then push them into place until you hear a snap. That one is already in. And there we have Counterpunch, who looks like a generic Autobot. Now, I'm not saying the design is bad. He just looks very run-of-the-mill. He looks like a background character, which, to be fair, he only had, like, what, one line in G1? At least the American version. So, makes sense, but I find Counterpunch to be a much more interesting character to look at. Now, I like that the yellow is here to break up the design, but it's kind of a boring design, if I'm being honest. Now, his head sculpt is pretty nice. The other head sculpt I already showed you, this one makes him look less like an old man and more like a warrior. Now, I'm not going to show off posability because it's exactly the same as the other, but I will talk about his gun, which looks like this. If I can focus on it. I cannot remember the names of the guns, and one problem I have is it kinda does come apart pretty easily, but if that continues to bother me, I could always glue it. But to get the gun in, you simply just same ordeal. It is a bit harder because this thing, the handle is on a swivel, which is kind of annoyingly loose, but just get it in there. I'm gonna do it off camera really quick. I'll be right back. He can hold the gun very nicely. As you can see, still I am not amazing with posing, but this brings me into my last accessory, so let's go ahead and rip his head off. As you can see, that's what his face looks like. But he does come with an alternate face where he looks kind of concerned. Now, I am not going to show this on his head, but I will show how to get it on. You just lift up, and you can see right in there's a tiny mushroom peg. You rip it off, put that tiny mushroom peg on. Now, the reason I'm not going to show this is because look how tiny that is. I do not trust that for a second. I feel like if I try to take this off, mushroom peg won't come with it, and I am not risking breaking my $100 toy for a stupid YouTube video. What's up? Editing me here. Definitely not procrastinating, but I just realized I forgot to mention the card. I haven't even taken it out of the sleeve, but it exists if you care. While I talk about how the guy is, here are some size comparisons of Punch Mode with the added bonus of Xtransbots Ultra Magnus, because I am not transforming that right now. But overall, I do really like this guy. He is by no means great, but he is a very serviceable masterpiece. Punch Counterpunch, TFW kind of ripped him a new asshole, but he honestly doesn't deserve that much hate. But overall, I love this guy. That's it for this video. See ya in the next one. Armada Megatron next.